Testing. Testing. Testing.
Well, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know that Supervisor Wasserman is on his way, but just to be respectful of everyone's time, I think as the supervisor, or as the chair often does, we'll introduce ourselves as we go down the line, and so everyone knows who is with us this morning. So good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Jordan, Medical Examiner, Coroner's Office.
Hi, good morning, Laura Garnett, Chief Probation Officer.
Good morning, Molly O'Neill, Public Defender.
Lori Smith, Sheriff.
Hi, Michaeline Regan, Pretrial Services for Aaron Johnson.
Patricia Lucas, Superior Court.
Ken Yeager, Supervisor District 4.
Jeff Smith, County Executive.
Miguel Marquez, County Chief Operating Officer.
Kavitha Narayan in for Rob Coelho from the County Counsel's Office.
Gary Hersig, Deputy County Executive.
Great. We do have two public speakers, Susan Bassey and Scott Largent, so if you want to come forward.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Clock's going. We got to get Scott out of here fast. We don't want to hear what he has to say. Let me, give me a second. I'll make sure the phone's not going to... Oh, well. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Looks like we got a interesting turnout today. The important ones are here, right? There's been a lot of stuff that's been getting on the news lately, which has been pretty impressive. I watched a thing on CNN with Lisa Ling, and it had actually had 4 or 5 different fathers that were not getting their visitation orders enforced, and they kind of have a support gig going, and kind of like what I had out in front of court until Patty Lucas dismantled that out in front of the courthouse. That was my support group. These ones are more on a national level, so it was great to have these people actually reach out to me. They're able to find me now on YouTube. So technology is unbelievable. These other fathers are reaching out to me, and they're feeling my pain. I mean, I'm putting on Minnie Mouse outfits and protesting family court. I'm so desperate to be in my daughter's life. So I've ran into a good group. Vicki Wynn from NBC, she did a nice little piece out in front of our courthouse. As she was filming this, the sheriff's deputies came down. The normal kind of give you a hard time. They were nice about it. But she got a great piece in there talking about how the judges kind of look down and wonder what's going on and always get involved and always try to keep that criticism out of there. I was really impressed to see that online. I kind of start blasting that out there. I said, hey, that's right where Patty Lucas had me arrested for using a kid's toy. I'm going to look at this stuff. It's getting out on the news. I'm not too impressed with all this stuff, and I'm going to continue to fight, but I'm going to fight online. I'm going to fight on YouTube. That is where my voice is being heard right now. And the feedback, I mean, I had one video I put up with a guy having a mental health crisis over here, and it got 7,000 views in 1 week. I mean, I'm getting like 50 times as many as you guys get for any of your county garbage you put up on there. And I realize you guys are also rigging your little media outlet now. You kind of have your own internal thing to write things about what's going on in the county. I understand you guys are rigging that. You've been scooping up reporters left and right and hiring them, to the county. I'm just really wondering what's going to go on. But hey, I can get it out on YouTube. I can tell my story, and none of you can stop me. And the one person that's really been trying to stop me won't even show up to these meetings anymore. And it's okay for Mike to be late because he has excellent attendance in our county. So somebody probably stopped him out there for some reason. So I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you. Oh, please go on YouTube. It's very successful.
Good morning. My name's Susan Bassey, and a year ago to this week, I stood before the Board of Supervisors for the first time and promised them a report. That report is going to be delivered this week to our Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of California in the form of an antitrust complaint. Patricia Lucas, you will be resigning or moving on as the supervising judge of our county at the end of this year. And in your 2-year tenure, our transparency in our court and our public trust and confidence in our court has never been lower. The actions you have taken in your administrative roles are despicable. They not only violate the rule of law, you have intentionally harmed families. When you became judge, you gave up a $790,000 a year job in a law firm, You said that your children had been taken care of and that you were ready to make a difference. What you didn't say is that you wanted to make a difference for judges and lawyers, and not the people that the judges and lawyers are supposed to serve. Families have been destroyed in this county for 3 decades. I wrote to you about the sexual harassment of Judge Towery that had been reported to me. You told me you investigated that by asking him. If anybody in private industry investigated a sexual harassment claim by asking the abuser and not doing an independent investigation, they would be fired, even if they were the founder of Tesla or Google or Yahoo. That's despicable, Patricia Lucas. You need to return to private practice, and you need to start doing your disclosures. You have been an abomination in the leadership of our court system here. More families have been ruined and destroyed. The children who are reaching out to me to explain what happened while you were in charge of their family court decisions is something that you shouldn't be able to sleep with at night. And I'm telling you that as a mother. You have sons and I have sons, and what you have done to children is despicable. The worst is what you did to Kathy Fike. You first failed to follow the law when, in her case, you appointed a referee. When I wrote to you about the irregularities in appointing referees and private temporary compensated judges, privately paid judges, you said to me, you checked. And sorry that Nat Hales took $100,000 from me, but he won't do it again. My research shows that he has been doing it, and you've been covering it up and not publishing the lists. And only the Google divorce got the transparency that it deserves in our courts. And people of middle-class backgrounds and poor people have been ruined in our courts under your management.
Yes, that does conclude our public comment. Chair Wasserman has joined us, and we'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. And first and foremost, I want to apologize to everybody here. Been an elected official for 16 years. I've never been late until today, and so I apologize for that.
Don't let it happen again, Supervisor.
Listen, short timer. All right. So we've had 1 and 2. Thank you, Supervisor Yeager, for handling that. We move on to item 3, which is to approve the consent calendar, which currently includes items 9 through 17. I'm suggesting we add 5 and 7 to that, Supervisor.
Yes, I would agree, and also at the request of the sheriff, we'd like to hold item number 4. I assume we'll just say to a future board meeting, nothing, no specific date.
We can do that, but we also have speaker cards for 4, 5, and 7. So before voting on those, unless there's any objection or comments made by committee members, seeing none, we'll hear from individuals. Susan Bassey.
I should, yeah, maybe just say for those that want to speak on item number 4, they're certainly welcome to do that, but
yes,
they might know that because we're not going to hear it, they may want to save their remarks to when the committee does hear the report. But go ahead.
Thank you. Susan Bassey coming up on item number 4. Ms. Bassey, when you're done with that, go ahead and stay up for item number 5.
Sure, thank you.
Would.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike, your attendance record is impeccable. You're always the consummate professional. We all give you a pass today. I'd like to speak on, there's going to be a report from the Office of Women's Policy and the Sheriff's Office on the status of women in this county. And Lori Smith, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your recent election. It was a landslide win, and you have been a person in our community who has had to face a system that was not very female-friendly. And I have been at some events that you covered, and I think you've done it well, and I think you will represent women well in this county, and I thank you for allowing me access to be able to cover those important topics that you're going to be trying to do in our community. Jeff Rosen, your treatment of women in this county is an abomination. Combined with Patricia Lucas, what the two of you have done in prosecuting women is despicable. And these women end up in our jails. These women were mothers. Let's go back to Kathy Fike. Kathy Fike was prosecuted by Santa Clara County based on a judge referral, and Patricia Lucas, you were presiding over this case, for taking $1 out of an account. Now, lawyers in our county have been trusted with their trust accounts for millions of dollars. They don't give accountings. Jeff Rosen got a complaint from a former prosecutor against Attorney Bradford Baugh for 15 felony counts and misdemeanors, and his office declined to prosecute private attorney Bradford Baugh, who has been stealing from women and children in this county for years. You have to start looking at what you're doing to women. They do not trust you, they will not come forward, and you are not handling domestic violence well. And that is not being discussed in the women's policies. That is not in your reports because you are only hearing what you want to hear. The judges are controlling things in their courtrooms, and you're not believing victims, and you need to start doing that. Thank you.
Ms. Bassi?
Yes.
You'll have up to 2 minutes.
You want me on
submit a
5?
card for item 5, and that'll include consent items 5, 7, and 9 through 17. Any of those you may speak to just under the 2 minutes.
Thank you. And when we talk about receiving reports in our public safety and justice community, we have been omitting what's going on in family courts. In family courts, we deal with 99% of domestic violence issues. If you are married to or dating somebody and they beat you or they steal from you, Jeff Rosen's office won't touch it. If it's a lawyer doing it, as Richard Falcone was, and Patricia Lucas, Kathy Fike tried to explain to you what domestic violence was. These victims don't know how to explain this. And so if you're going to be concerned about protecting our citizens and public safety, the biggest public safety we have is happening not in plain sight. It's happening in our homes, and it's being concealed in our courts. Judge Towery took one of our most high-profile domestic violence cases, and when the media started to cover it in the criminal courts, they were all granted media access. When they tried to cover it in our family courts, where Ray McDonald had been charged with endangering a child, Judge Towery closed the courtroom. Judge Towery and his bailiffs gave high fives to Ray McDonald, let him take photographs in a courtroom, and then beat up on the reporter who was covering that. And that was on December 8th, 2016. You are beating people into silence. You are deterring them from coming forward by your policies, by your patterns, and by your conduct. Jeff Rosen, you are the most despicable abuser of victims in this county. You have failed victims of domestic violence, including women, children, and the elderly. And Mr. Berg asked me to give you a message today, and that is that the Sheriff's Department recommended prosecuting. Had you done that, our streets would have been safer.
Mr. Hanson, if you'll come forward, please, item number 7, and for the record, we have a copy of your written comments as well.
Could I get those so that I could read them? I wasn't anticipating being here by the time that agenda item would come before you.
I wasn't anticipating being here at this time either.
Thank you very much. Good morning, supervisors and committee members. My name is Ron Hansen. I'm affiliated with PACT, People Acting in Community Together. In the meeting minutes of the Inmate Welfare Fund Committee for October 14th, 2015, we read, 500 tablets were part of the new GTL contract and would be divided equally between the main jail and Elmwood. 6 months later, at the May 24th meeting of that same committee, the attendees were told that the program was on schedule and had a, quote, go-live date of June 21st, 2016. Alas, GTL never delivered a single tablet, and on October 18th, 2016, a year after that 500-tablet promise, the county terminated the agreement. So now we slow forward a full year to November 2017, when an RFP was issued for tablets, this time handled not by the Sheriff's Office alone, but in a combined Sheriff's Office and procurement effort. Ever the optimist, I took the RFP schedule of events at face value, noting that the final milestone of the schedule, the contract commencement, would happen by May 2018. Well, that was 6 months ago. Unfortunately, today there are no tablets because the wiring for them is still in its procurement phase, For some reason, its procurement was not synchronized with that of the tablets, so it's not clear when a go-live event will actually occur. No one doubts the positive benefit of tablets to inmates, staff, and the institution itself, and yet, the process to put a tablet in the hands of just one inmate has taken over 3 years and counting. I urge whatever influence you on this committee may have, please raise the priority and urgency of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and with that, Supervisor Yeager, we have items 9 through 17 on the consent calendar, 5 and 7 added, and 4 being held. Anything else from any other committee members? Seeing none, is that a motion, Supervisor?
That is a
Yeager?
motion, Supervisor.
I'll second that, and that'll pass unanimously. All righty. That was item 3. We took care of 4 and 5 just a moment ago. We now move on to item number 6, which is consider recommendations relating to adult custody of the Ombuds program. Welcome, and if you'll each please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Katja DeGroot, Program Manager of the Office of Mediation and Ombud Services.
Oh, try it again. Nope. Press the button.
Kate Jones, Senior Mediator.
Steal Pacha's microphone.
Kate Jones, Senior Mediator.
There you go. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ines Sapiola with the Adult Custody Office of the Ombuds.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Adult Custody Office of the Ombuds Annual Report highlights. The 4 standards of organizational ombuds practice place ACU in a unique position to help address concerns and suggest improvements to existing custody bureau processes.
And Pacha, if I may interrupt for a moment.
Yes.
So any committee members, if you haven't already noticed, your input button, if it's on blue, you won't get the presentation. If you just press it, it'll go dark, and you'll bring up her PowerPoint on your screen. We good? All right, thank you.
Rather than acting as a monitor or observer, ACU gives voice to visitor concerns and provides unfiltered information to raise awareness of issues directly to Sheriff's Office decision makers for their consideration. As ACU staff, Kate and Inez work with each of their many visitors, the majority of whom are inmates, to address case-specific concerns. They do so by working collaboratively and in a mediative manner with healthcare and jail administration staff who can provide real-time assistance to inmates. From the visitor voices, ACU identified 695 specific visitor issues that were categorized into 15 broad areas of concern from which the trends emerged. The ACU then aggregated the data from its cases and identified 4 issue trends that it raised in quarterly meetings with the Sheriff's Office. These conversations provided insight that presumably helped the Sheriff's Office determine what changes, resources, or policy adjustments might be necessary to respond to the information provided by the ACU. This evolving collaborative process produced the matrix that is attached to the annual report. The 4 trends highlighted in the matrix for this reporting period include trend item number 2, which we believe exemplifies the benefit of the collaborative process. About 1/3 of issues or questions raised by inmates concerned information on services the ACU staff recognize are provided by rehabilitation officers or ROs. However, it became apparent through conversations with inmate visitors that they were generally unaware of the RO resource. The ACU suggested the Sheriff's Office consider increasing access to information on the RO services and processes. The Sheriff's Office heard the totality of the concern, assessed, and responded. Illustrated above as one of its action items, the Sheriff's Office developed a presentation in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese that will run periodically throughout the day on TV monitors that provide enhanced information to inmates regarding ROs and their services. The AQ anticipates an increase in inmates utilizing RO services and a reduction in information and referral inquiries going forward. In summary, the AQ is a knowledgeable outsider uniquely situated to share insider experiences, both to help individuals with their case-specific concerns and to help decision makers improve the custody system. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Having no cards, I'll look to committee members. Sheriff?
I really would like to take this opportunity to thank you, your staff, for all of the work. I think together we've really done a lot of good, made a lot of changes. You bringing things to our attention has been tremendously helpful, and thank you so much for the collaboration with your entire office.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. And Mr. Largent, come on forward. You'll have 2 minutes to speak on this item.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Scott Largent. You know, a lot of these pamphlets and brochures, and some of this stuff I think works, and some of the stuff I don't think works at all. Several times at these committees, she's not here today, Sylvia Perez, she's talked about her interest in stuff like this, the Ombudsman program. You know, we would like to get more information. I'd like to distribute it to my attorneys. I want them to understand this process right here. She's talked about it at 3 different meetings over the last year. So I decided to start talking to all the different IDO attorneys, ask them if they even know what this stuff is. They don't. They look clueless. You start asking them about everything that's going on in here. I don't think everybody is kind of helping out in the room. I think the Public Defender's Office, I'm not sure if you guys have the updated brochures in there. I notice you guys are better at having them there now. I know for a fact the IDO doesn't get up to speed on that stuff, so I'll have to pay a visit over there maybe sometime this week and see if the updated stuff is there. I just don't see it. It's like those suicide, ones we had. We did a whole thing out in this hallway here. Nobody brought those to any other agency here. The little nice little laminated things they had out there, I'm the one that put them in the courthouse. I'm the one that put them at the Public Defender's Office on the wall. I'm the one that put those things at the police department. Why does nothing ever make it out of that lobby out there? Why doesn't it get distributed amongst the people that need it? So I think it's kind of a failure. We need to all work getting this out. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, Supervisor, the action requested of us is simply to receive the report from the Office of County Execs, Office of Mediation and Ombuds, and receive a response from the Office of the Sheriff. We've received both. I don't see any further action necessary. All right. Agreed? Thank you. Got the nod from County Council as well. We now move on to item number 8, which is to receive a quarterly report from the Office of the County Exec relating to the Juvenile Justice System Collaborative.
Good morning, Martha Wapensky, Deputy County Executive. I have a brief, this is our regular quarterly report on the Juvenile Justice Systems Collaborative. As you know, the JJSC has a wide range of stakeholders dealing with issues about reducing disproportionate minority contact and confinement of youth of color in our county. All of the activities are included in the report, but I want to briefly go over a few of them. I'd also like the folks with me here to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Good morning, Dolores Morales, Probation Department.
Good morning, Mike Sims, Probation Department, Deputy Chief.
So the JJSC received the 2017 Juvenile Justice Annual Report. This committee also received that report, so I'm not going to repeat it, but we are using it as a guidepost for JJSC's work in the coming year. The group is also, a few of the other highlights, there's a discretionary bench warrant program to decrease unnecessary detention of youth who don't pose a risk to the community but have a warrant issued. The group is also looking at developing policy recommendations to ensure youth of color don't stay on probation unnecessarily. And we're working with the County Office of Education on exploratory efforts looking at gaps in behavioral health services among the students. The work plans and progress notes for the 2 race equity groups that report out to JJSC are attached here. And I'd like to know if you guys have any comments, anything to add. With that, we'll take questions.
Thank you. I have no cards and I don't see any lights on. So I think this will be about as easy as can be, thanks to your excellent report, all three of you. Appreciate that. We'll consider this received unless you have any comments or questions. None. That concludes item number 8. Thank you very much for that. Items 9 through 17 were taken care of earlier under consent. That brings us to 18, which is to adjourn this meeting until our next regularly scheduled meeting, December 19th. In these board chambers at 2 p.m.? Yes, at 2 p.m.? Just confirming. All right, at 2 p.m. Thank you all very much. Meeting adjourned.